Harry and the Louise ads, and what we thought we would do is show you the evolution of these ads, including the most recent one, a spin-off of those ads, which was released this past Thursday by the Democratic National Committee. Here's what they look like.
This is not magic.
But this was covered under our old plan.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it?
Things are changing, and not all for the better. The government may force us to pick from a few healthcare plans designed by government bureaucrats.
Having choices we don't like is no choice at all.
Yeah, they choose.
We lose.
For reforms that protect what we have, call toll-free. Know the facts. If we let the government choose, we lose. Call today.
You've probably seen a yuppie couple named Harry and Louise on TV recently questioning the president's health care plan. Well, I thought I'd bring you up to date. Harry lost his job and also his insurance. Louise owned a small, struggling company that couldn't afford group insurance, so she'd always depended on Harry's policy. Unfortunately, she had a pre-existing condition that prevented her from obtaining new coverage. Now, it's true, Louise should have gone into the hospital earlier, but she didn't want to eat into their savings. Eventually, she and Harry gave up their country club memberships and sold their expensive foreign car, but by then, it was too late. Very nice service. Harry doesn't get out here much. He got a job making commercials in another state. His new company doesn't have an insurance plan, and after paying off Louise's hospital bills, he can't afford one. Sad story. The insurance companies say we can fix things using the same system that's always been there. That's what they told Teddy Roosevelt when he proposed the national plan almost 100 years ago. I guess they're still working on it. Oh, hey, by the way, if you see Harry, tell him to hang in there. The president's plan is just around the corner.
He shoots, he scores, he floats.
Louise, Pat was just telling me his state has community rating.
Everyone pays the same rate, no matter their age, even if they smoke or whatever. Does it work?
My health insurance went from $1,200 to $3,200 a year.
With a double?
Yeah, thousands dropped their insurance. I mean, we actually have fewer covered now than before.
Congress can do better than that.
If we send them that message.
To send Congress a message on flat community rating, call today.
You said universal health care was too complicated, Louise.
Oh, good
You said you'd never lose your job, so we'd always be covered.
Oh,
You said, what do we do when the government runs out of money? Well, who's out of money now, Harry? There's got to be a better way. Right? Harry?
There is a better way. Tell Congress you want what they already have, the security of affordable universal health care.
David Wilhelm, chair of the Democratic National.
Needless to say, Clinton's health care plan still failed. Lastly, let's look at a couple types of interest groups. One would be economic, particularly labor, and they usually want to fight for the rights of workers. They have a little bit easier time doing that in states that are called union shop states, wherein if you work a certain trade, you have to belong to that union. And the opposite, they have a little harder time in right-to-work states such as South Carolina, where the government says that you do not have to belong to a union, and therefore you have companies such as Boeing that will go there so they can hire cheaper labor. You also have your business interests, and besides big conglomerates like oil companies that form their own interest groups, there are things like the Chamber of Commerce for the smaller businesses who can belong to that organization, and then that organization kind of fights for the things that most of those businesses would collectively want, such as lower tax rates for small businesses and less restrictions and regulations. And they have quite a bit of influence, as you can see. We'd also see some environmental interest groups. Obviously, they want to protect species or stop pollution or global warming, etc., and stop angry pandas from running amok and causing chaos. The last type would be interest groups focused on equality. The NAACP is one of the longest running ones. You know them for fighting for integration of schools and other rights for African Americans and minorities. During the 70s, we had the National Organization of Women that was trying to make equal rights. They tried to pass that Equal Rights Amendment, wherein it would be stated that men and women would be treated equally by the government. That failed largely in part because women didn't like the idea that they would then be included in the draft at a time of war. And so until this day, we still don't have that type of equality, so to speak, on the government level.